Hey guys, this is Poverty, and this is game coding. We are on the code side of saving and loading. So let me step you through what I've made. So here we are in the header file, which is just the, I guess the base of it all. So I made a class, and of course I called it class save load. That way when we see it in the code we'll understand. Startup, shut down, and of course the first version is just saving and loading. This is going to load to a file, or this is going to load up a file, and this is going to save to a file. I probably should be more specific, but you pretty much understand. When you load, you pull in, save, you send information out. I have been actually kind of sick the last week, so this is actually arriving I think a day late, but oh well. It's still arriving. So got hit with both being sick and a touch of depression, so I was unable to do really anything. So if you hear me coughing and choking, that's probably because I'm still not over the sinus infection. Anyways, moving on. So version 2 of saving and loading is saving a character and loading a character. So I'll step through version 1 and then version 2. After that, we'll want to save load a map and then move on to a count. These are all going to be things planned later, so for now let's just start somewhere just to get the saving and loading working. So here we got the save file, or save code, and it's string text to save. Here's the string you want to save, or enter the string you want to save, and voila, get in cin, comma, text to save. And then it's going to, I forget what the O stands for, but it's file stream, save file, and that's what I'm going to call it. We can get fancier later on by predetermining this in the in an outside file where we open it up and we find what that name we want, or we move it over to the globals and predefine it and send it in. We can get more complex, but we're just starting somewhere, so we're hard coding it for now. Then we go save file, send all the information into it, and then we have to close that file. So let's see where we make the file. Right here, save file. Put information in and then close it. And that's the loading. No, that's the saving. The loading is down here, and it's pretty much, I think the O stands for out, the I stands for in. So in file stream, we're going to say load file. Load file, we have to tell what it is and how we want to load it. And basically load everything. Cout, we'll just state everything. We're going to state everything that we typed. So I need to do a while loop. Each one will be, if file is good, as in the next character. If it's not the end of file, EOF, which is a 0 or a null. That's what it's looking for. So if it's still good, keep going, and cout. What it brings in, I believe, is, I'll call it in a moment, but it's not a character. So we have to tell the data that we pull in, that we get the next single piece. This gets one single piece. We're putting it to a character, and we'll output that. And at the end, why do that? I don't know. I think it was something else. Anyways, and then we close the load file. So let's get to it, shall we? And I've already, oh, I forgot to, global. Later on, I'll show you what this is for, but basically it takes the length of a character, and then it returns an integer. So if it's 1 character long, it will return a 1. If it's 3 characters long, like a number like 115, or the word cat, it'll return 3. So this actually gives me the number of spaces which are used up. So basically it brings in whatever number I put in here, it divides it by 10, and the counter goes up and returns the counter number. So that's a useful little bit of information, a little global code, I guess. Making my own library right here. And then here on the CPP file, I have the class defined as CL save load. Therefore, here in main, CL save load save, CL save load load, and we don't need an intro. Come on, computer, you can do it. Come on, down here. I want it down here. And then we don't need to load the map, and we'll just go on as normal. So let us do the handy dandy magic. There's been compiled, and now it's running. So we've cut out the intro. So here we go. Enter a string. This is the most awesome game ever. And let's throw in some funky characters just in case, shall we? Ding. So the file contains, this is the most awesome game ever, gibberish. So it saw the gibberish and recognized it, and then the enter key turned out to be the end of file. So voila, the load and save is now working. So let's go ahead and quit out of this and take a little peek, and you'll notice there's a brand new file here, save.txt. And there it is. This is the most awesome game ever. So it's readable, and we can now we can hack it. Game has been hacked. Check it out. So that's version 1. It's like, oh, how cute. So next, what we want to do, we're pretty much done with this. Load text command. That's dead. Initialize, meh. Use initialize later. Under intro, let's go back to the save load. So the other thing is save character and load character. So I moved that over here to the C++ file. So we've got its own separate thing. And the loading got a little complex. I'll step it through, but I want to get this described as quick as possible so you guys aren't watching like a 30-minute video. So saving character, all we have to do, now saving, I'm just going to call it character 01 and .text, and that's just because we're going to have 3 different characters later on, but for now we're just determining the first one we make is 01. We'll get more complex later. So we're going to save the name, get name, comma, hence making a comma delineated file. All the information is going to be separated by a comma. So level, experience, current health, max health. That's everything we want to save. Save file, close, cout is done, pause it, wait for an enter key. And where I'd like to put it, I believe I have put it. Character. No. I need to bring up the intro. Oops. Almost had them all. There we go. Nope. Globals first, then the intro. So we get the intro, and we want to do the character intro. And well, obviously, we'll get rid of that. I think get rid of that. God, excuse me. And we can get rid of that. This is checking for save file. We know it's there. It's actually in here under new character, I believe. And new character, dun dun dun, is right here. So that's the intro. Blah blah blah. Display the character, and then we want to save the character. So that the new character creates a new character and save it. For now, we'll always create a new character and save a new character. I'll update that later, but for now, let's just save the character. And then back to here, we have the intro. So we are going to save it as character o1.text, which does not exist yet. So let's do this, shall we? Now that we've got it, I shall compile, and everything looks good. Yes, please. No. Minor details. Let's see. View. Let's bring up logs. There we go. Okay. Crap. I will get back to you in a second. Gotta find out where I messed up. And minor details. Here at the character intro and load character, that was actually going to be dealing with the accounts and actually letting you choose how you want your character. So I got a little ahead of myself. This is the only one we want right now. That's new character. So in the new character, it basically saves the character to a file. So let's look into this. So all we need is intro. Let's make it compile this time. And dun dun dun, voila. So we see the intro. Your name is Bob, the great and glorious. Just kidding, Bob. And here we go. Bob, level 1, experience 0, health 10 out of 10. So let's quickly, now saving. Done! It was a success. Let's go take a peek at the file. And here we go. Bob, level 1, 0 experience, 10 out of 10. So let's hack it, shall we? Let's say it's Bobby. Let's say he's level 3, because he's awesome. Experience 5. Once he gets the next kill, being 6, he'll round up to level 4. And let's just say he's got some battle damage, shall we? Something unique like 8, and something cool like 15 max. So max health, current health, experience, level, and name. Voila, we have now hacked the character. So now we should be able to just bring in a load load the character, which means we don't need the intro, because if we save it again, it's going to wipe out our file and replace it with the old information. So let's not do that, but instead we want to load our character. So let's compile this, dun dun dun, and run. So we got rid of the intro. So the first thing it does is, this is a little bit of information from my load code, because what I had to do is I noticed there's repeating information, so I made a secondary function that the class function would call. And this was just to test to make sure that it was reading right. So voila, it's already saved, or already loaded in the character. Things are fine. There's no error message. Let's move on. So now we're in the game. We can go north, we can go south some, let's go east, and let's check out our character, which I've coded it for the letter C for character sheet. Dink. And there's the character sheet. Name is Bobby. So the change worked. Health, 8 out of 15. Yes, battle damage. Level 3, experience 5. Press any key to continue. And back to the game we go. So east, and you hit a wall. Bonk! So voila. Let's get out of this and take a look at the code. Let's look at the code. So here we are at the load character. So what we do is, of course, we're just going to hard code it. That way we just have to put in void for now. Tells the system nothing when it returns. In file stream is going to be called load file, and this is, these little 2 bits of information is going to be for the secondary function that this one calls for repeating information. I array pointer equals I temp pointer. Oh yes, this is third one is part of that one as well, because I have to make a integer array, then make a integer pointer, and then just say, hey, you're going to point to it. So I'm getting back into pointers. I should be a pro at this, but meh, I'm not perfect. So there's a lot to C and C++, so I'm assuming that most people have finished up learning the basics and is digging in. So this is me stepping people through how to write a game. Everything from design to coding. So it's, again, Sword and Shield. I plan to go in the direction of MMO, but those take 33,000 hours, man-hours to complete. So if you've got 1,000 people working, it should take about 33 hours. Sarcasm. No, it's more like if you've got 33 people, it'd take 1,000 hours, which is a half a year. But, is that right? Yeah, I did my math right. But most MMOs take a smaller crew, like 10, 12, and it takes 3 years to get it out. And that's just to the starting point. But anyways, let's move forward, shall we? So load file, we open our little file name, which is right up here. That's the pointer. And it brings in everything. Open it up, some basic data, and then we do our loop. So again, as long as it's not the end of file, we're going to set whatever character it just pulls in to temp to make sure it's not a comma, because it's a comma delineated file. And the first thing we know we're going to pull in is the name. So it keeps looping until it equals a comma. If it equals a comma, it kicks on down here, and then we set that current position to a, I just realized, count, break. Well, I know it works. I just didn't see where it was counting. But anyways, so there we go. We take our character. Lost track completely. Oh, if it's a comma, that's why. Oh yeah, I'm on top of it. I think I need more coffee. If it's a comma, we bring it in. We set the current count to position to 0, meaning that's going to be our end of data array, and then we break out of the while loop. And then we've got the else, which means if it's not a comma, we take that data, whatever our I count is, which starts out at 0, and we stuff in each character one at a time into that array. Once it hits the comma, it continues on. And where do we want that? Well, position in file, load, and this is gtell. It says tell get the position. So we get the position, and the name was 6 characters. If I add Bobby with a IE, it'll then tell me it'll return as a 7. So this is telling me how long that name was, because that's a good chunk of information to know. So then we set player set name to whatever we pulled in. The next one, if you remember, everything is a number. Number. So the first one is setting the level. So I went ahead and made a function to take care of that. And if you remember, that's where this other function came in as well. So this one basically tells us the length of that number. So if it's a single digit, it'll return a 1. If it's a double digit, it'll return a 2. If it's triple digit, 3, and so on and so forth. So let's get back to it. So I said I array pointer, because we're going to be receiving 2 characters back. One is going to be, we're going to tell the load file where the current spot is. That way we can continue on. So this is where the comma is going to be. And then the string file name is what we're going to be loading. So we're going to get that pointer, the dual chunks of information, and then we're going to say the very first slot will be of that pointer comes back. Probably should just go see the function right now. But anyways, we set the level, and then we tell the load file to seek that new position because it didn't remember where it was. So we have to tell them where to go, and then when it comes back, it tells us how far we went, and then we tell it where we currently are at. So let's do this, shall we? And that function is actually up here. So load integer. So we're loading integers off the file. Sorry for all getting a little technical, but hopefully I'm getting through this rather quick and painlessly. So, file name, and then the current position. So we initiate the usual stuff. This is all for the pointer and the array to return back. So we want 2 bits of information to be returned back. We open up the file, it's an in file, and then we say we want to go to this position because we're told where to go. That way we won't keep loading the same bit of information over and over and over again. And again, we now take what would have, you probably recognize this as loading the name. It's the same function, just changed around just a smidgen for integers. So we make sure it's not the end of file. Then we load in this next thing and say it's a character. If it's a comma, we set it as 0 and break, which continues on. If not, keep loading until we hit that comma. And then we move on down. It comes in as a character. And we want to take that entire array, which this thing is array to integer, and the proper way is standard. But at the beginning, so you see all these different types of standards, tons and tons of them. Anyways, here at the top, you should see A to I, array to integer, and just trust me, it's there. Where was I? Okay, so it's a standard file, and I've got the thing where I don't have to type in that part to save a few keystrokes. So it takes the array, turns it to an integer, and saves as an integer. Then we take that integer, we stuff it in the first part of the integer array, and that is our data that we want to get. And then this, we want to find out how big that character is, or where that position is, and voila. And I'm trying to remember where I used that additional, probably later on. But anyways, so there we go. So now it returns the 2 pieces of information. We take it, and we know that the next piece of information is load, next one is experience, next one is health, and next one is max health. And voila. So this is actually just loading it in. And it returns. And it loads in just fine. So it says this file states the file name, which is character01, has loaded successfully. Oh, this is the default. So if it messes up, it's like, okay, well, if that file is not there, the default is like your file name either does not exist or cannot be opened, which means that someone else has it open, like you've got it open and it's currently being processed, and it's like, hey, so we close it, and voila, and that's the code. So now we can do an intro and save the character, and at the end of the game, when we quit, thanks for playing. Notice I got a note here for saving. CL save load dot save charata. Ding! Come on, you can do it. Grr, silly system. Voila. So now, when we quit, we save the character and then say thank you for playing. So you don't have to worry about saving your character out. The load, on the other hand, we now need to set up code to search. Say, hey, can you find character 01, character 02, or character 03? For now, it's going to be character 1. We want to start it off in initialization of saying, hey, if the character exists, come up with a screen that says, hey, do you want to load a character, or do you want to start a new one? If you start a new one, you start the intro again. And it ticks it off, and the first time around it will replace your file. So even if you're level 9, some great material, it's going to wipe it out and start over. So this is why you want multiple characters, but that is step 2. So here we go. So for now, the game is up and running. So it's going to introduce the character every time. So that's the next step. I'll do that off screen, but I wanted to show off, there you go, version 1 and version 2 of saving and loading. And this really opens up the whole dynamic of the game itself, because there's so much we can do now. And I will be stepping you through all of it, or as much as I think is necessary. A lot of stuff is going to be off screen. So again, this is Poverty with my game coding channel. So thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed.